So I got a couple questions under one of my videos. Rodney Hinton Jr. raises $50,000 on GiveSendGo, and people mad about it. So I will answer those questions in a second. I didn't complete what I was trying to say from before, and so I'm going to say completely what I want to say. I want to offer some policy recommendations because how they're handling this thing, they are fueling the fire. They're just fueling the fire to the damn thing. Okay, so to give a quick recap, Rodney Hinton Jr. is the father who ran over a police officer the day after his son was shot and killed. Now, a lot of the details, somebody's actually going to bring something up to me saying something that the car actually wasn't stolen, that it was just some sort of repo deal, and that either the owner was in the car or that somebody related to the owner was in the car, something like that. And it's like, really? It's so hard to discern the damn truth, but the truth is a must. In order to get objective justice, you need to know objective truth, right? But they went ahead and did a perp walk. You got 50 police officers that's at the courthouse, right? You got 50 police officers who's at the courthouse. They're pushing for the death penalty. And then they're just so mad about the thing, right? They're just so mad. And, you know, there is a reason to be angry. There's one man's dead, another man is dead. There's comparing and contrast. The longer that this thing goes out, the longer that this plays out. Let's say they take it to trial. They're trying to push for capital punishment. In what, 2 years? In 2 years, there will be a verdict. He killed a man. So there is a reason to be angry. I was saying a different point because the police officer that had killed his son, we don't even know who he is. Has he been indicted by a grand jury? There's probable cause that a crime had occurred. The man's dead. And then they're trying to make it seem like he pointed a gun at him, which he didn't. And they're saying he pointed in the shot in the back. Not exactly. Shot in the side. I think that the judicial system in Cincinnati should put the police officer through a trial, just like they're going to do with Rodney Hinton Jr. You trust in your criminal justice system. The jury comes back with either a guilty or not guilty verdict, right? It's a fair process. And since it's a fair process, then we'll all get to see how good this, criminal justice system is in Cincinnati. A police officer shot somebody, killed somebody. They got to be put on a trial, just, put to trial just like anybody else. So the longer that goes on, if it takes 2 years before it goes to trial, more people are going to ask more questions. Where is this police officer? What is this police officer's name? Where is he? What is he up to? What is he doing? And what was the actual, incident? Did the guy actually, all we know from the video was that there's 4 guys sitting in a vehicle, some sort of SUV. Cops show up, and then they all run. They all scatter. And then Ryan Hinton had a gun in his hand. So, that's suspicious. You're in a vehicle, you have a gun in your hand, and then you take off running. I had heard that the car was stolen from northern Kentucky. And so if the car was stolen from northern Kentucky, I'm just thinking it's like, 4 people got out, pointed a gun at, a couple going to fucking Applebee's or some shit, stole the car from the interstate while they were at a stoplight, pulled a gun on them, got in the car, and took off. If that's not the case, well, then I need to be corrected. I want to know the truth of the situation, because one of these questions is suggesting that, and I'll take a look at, some of the articles that's out there. You can't totally believe legacy media either, right? Just because they print up a sentence or two, don't make it true. And that sucks about trials, because unless you're there actually witnessing all the evidence and all the documents that's being put forth and taking diligent notes, then you're just kind of stuck with, whatever legacy media types up. If they could put out videos, or if somebody could cover this, part of the family, somebody who's watching it closely, if they could compile the evidence. Even the Karen Reed stuff is hard to watch, because it's like, give me a list, a T-chart. What is the evidence in favor of Karen Reed? What's the evidence against Karen Reed? There's more evidence against Karen Reed than there is in favor of what they dragged him inside the house. They beat the guy up. Then they threw him onto the front yard to make it look like it was her. That's got so many more moving parts. Occam's razor says that the simplest explanation is probably true. She's sitting there texting and, leaving all these crazy ass messages, just yelling at him and treating him like shit. And the text messages are like, are we a thing or are we not a thing? I just feel like you're just leaving, you're setting me up to fail. I don't understand what's going on. They had a tumultuous relationship. She drops him off at a house. She's not staying at the house. They're both drunk. He goes in. She doesn't go in. She backs into him, breaks the taillight, knocks him unconscious, drives the fuck home. Maybe she knew she did. Maybe she didn't. She was drinking and driving, right? And then goes home and then is calling him. So either A, covering her tracks up, or B, calling him, because, hey, I dropped you off. You said you was going to come here. Where are you at now? Don't you want me to come and pick you up later on? And all this other shit. They got pieces of the damn... Anyways, the truth matters. The truth matters. The truth matters. So I'll just start off with the policy recommendations. Here's exactly what the Cincinnati police or the prosecutor for Cincinnati should do. They should be smart and they should be strategic by pushing for the death penalty, by putting it on trial for the next 2 years. You're keeping this shit right in the media. You're keeping it front and center. And then until you have a verdict, until you have a judgment, until you have some sort of plea deal, until there's some sort of conclusion or closure, there's some sort of, finality to the damn thing, until you have a final judgment or almost a final judgment, people want to know what happened. It increases anxiety. It also increases excitement. You also got the expectancy factor, right? Like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen, right? Is he going to be put to death? Is he going to get 50 years? And then they're also not thinking about this. What if he gets exonerated? What if a jury acquits him? I mean, they're about to acquit Karen Reed, and she looks guilty as hell. So I think that they should offer a plea deal, offer life in prison, or maybe 30 years. Offer 30 years. I mean, life in prison is a pretty harsh thing. If he doesn't accept life in prison, maybe he'll take 30 years. Why? He's like in his 30s anyways. What is he, 33 or 34? You only live to be 76. So 33 plus 30 years, that's 66. He only has 10 more years of life. And that's, you've had to take care of him in the, penal system. In jail for 30 years. You had to pay for his, food and shower and then for the jailers and for 30 years. And to think that you're going to get the execution when it's clear emotional disturbance, you're not going to get it. You're not going to get it. It's going to get appealed over and over again. And at what cost? You took 2 years to get it, and then 10 years worth of appeal, and then 12 fucking years later, he's put to death. You're not going to feel, the initial shock will be over. You're not going to get any satisfaction. A lot of times people will lose a loved one, and then they'll see the person get executed, and they'll still say, well, that doesn't bring my loved one back. Nothing will bring my loved one back. The loss that I feel, that's just a big hole in my heart that will never be filled up. So I think they should offer a plea deal, either life in prison or 30 years. 30 years is a substantial thing. Get this thing over with and done with as soon as possible. By stretching it out, you're putting more attention onto the case. By having 50 cops show up at the damn courthouse, you're almost making him look like a damn celebrity. Wow, who is this guy? What is going on? Now the press is going to come in. People are interested. It's going to put more and more attention on it. They should be smart, be strategic. Stop with the 50 cops bullshit. Don't push for, capital punishment. Hurry up and get a plea deal. You get a plea deal. He's in bars for 30 years. You put that baby to bed. You put that baby to bed, and now nobody's going to be hardly talking about it at all. So the expectancy factor is when you don't know a thing is going to happen. Like if I just bring you pizza and I say, hey, here's some pizza. Well, that's fun. That's exciting. But if I say I'm going to bring pizza on Thursday, well, then that pizza is going to taste so much better because, in a week from now, you're going to get some pizza. So you're expecting it. You can't wait for it. And then when you finally get it, it's going to be so damn delicious. Even if it's, if someone just offers you a pizza, then it's not as delicious than if you had to wait for it. I got two examples. You had Jesper Jorgensen, right? And you had the King Super Shooter. So Jesper Jorgensen, there is this case in Colorado Costilla County, but the fire is going to be 108,000 acres. It's the third largest fire in Colorado history, and I'm pretty sure it started in Costilla County. So you got this man, a Denmark man, right, that makes him Dutch, right? So you got this Dutch man named Jesper Jorgensen, and people were so mad about him too. It didn't just burn 108,000 acres; it burnt down 140 structures. So like 100 homes. 100 homes got burnt down. And it all, was a campfire. This Jesper Jorgensen was on his land. There's a campfire. He falls asleep. He wakes up, and it's just spreading all over the place. He tries to put it out. He's injured. When he tries to put it out, he calls 911. By the time 911 gets there, the damn thing has spread so much and so far that it's out of control. They pussyfooted around. They pussyfooted around when it came to putting the damn fire out, and then they pussyfooted around when it came to hurrying up and getting a conviction. Ecclesiastes 8:11 says, when a sentence for a crime is not quickly carried out, then people's hearts are filled with schemes to do wrong. I've heard it read differently about how the sons of the evildoers, if you don't hurry up and put the wicked and punish the wicked immediately, then the sons of the wicked, their hearts will be filled with evil. They'll want to do evil as well. So they pussyfooted around with this Jesper Jorgensen. And 100 people's homes were burnt down. Of course they would be so mad. They were so mad. They were so mad. Ooh, I'm so angry. But the level of anger doesn't equal, the punishment that's meted out. The judicial system between, justice, your anger on the matter, it doesn't matter if you're at a 10 or a 1 or a 5. Ultimately, Jesper Jorgensen is going to get dismissed. The case is going to be dismissed. He's arrested. They put him in jail. Then they try to say that he's insane. And they try to get him to say he was insane. And then they try to put some drugs in him, but he kept rejecting it. No, I'm not insane. No, I don't want any drugs. And then after 2 years, they didn't have a case. There was the right to a speedy trial, and they just dismissed the damn thing. People were so mad about that, and they should be. He destroyed a lot of people's property, a lot of people's livelihoods. And the contradiction still stands. People are saying $50,000, that's awful. $50,000, what the hell are people, why would they donate to that, and why would GiveSendGo do that? But $1 million goes to that racist piece of crap that called the kid the N-word. She got $1 million. $1 million is so much more than $50,000. And then I'm also thinking about the King Super Shooter. So this is another Colorado deal where you had a 21-year-old walks into a grocery store and just kills 10 people. Just seems like such a random thing that happened. The guy's name is Ahmad Alyssa. So Ahmad Alyssa, 21 years old, goes in the King Super's grocery store, shoots 10 people. Shoots and kills 10 people. Again, be pissed off. Be angry. This is injustice. People are being injured, and it's not right. It's total bullshit that people do this to other people. The prosecutor in that outfit got that 21-year-old, not capital punishment, but he got not just life in prison, he got 10 lifetimes in prison. So he's going to have to spend 10 lifetimes in prison. You live to be 76 times 10, so was that 700 years in jail? So Ahmed Alyssa is going to have to spend 760 years in jail, plus they added 48 years for the 38 attempted murders. So not only is he going to be in there for 700 years, but he's going to be in there for 1,300 years for the attempted murders. Well, because he was found guilty of 55 felony counts, he was found guilty of all the felony counts, 55 of them. Now he's going to have to spend 2,000 years in jail. What the fuck? Talk about some goddamn overkill. You were so mad. You were so pissed off. How much other shit has happened? I want to say Colorado Springs. There's goddamn crimes happening all the fucking time. You're spending all your time, all your resources on this one fucking guy just so you can get the conviction to where he's going to be behind bars for 2,000 years? So in the year 4025, Ahmed Alyssa is still going to be in that prison? What happens if he dies before he serves the sentence? will go to his next of kin. So you're wasting resources. You're wasting time. You're wasting money. You're wasting resources. You could have just charged this guy with 10 felony counts, put one of your deputy prosecutors on him. They would have got a good, and then they all get behind the podium and behind the microphone, and then they take all the credit like they did something remarkable. A guy goes in and just shoots up the fucking place. Yeah, they try to put some insane mark on him, right? If he would have got insanity, well, hell, maybe he could have beat the damn thing. So once he wasn't insane, once he was determined to be competent, and then he's, in trial for the damn thing, it's just fucking overkill. And then ultimately, instead of dragging this out, wasting all that time and effort, get back to the business of, serving the people, not just being stuck on one damn case. How many lawyers were on this case? How much time, how much money, how much paper, how many resources are used for this one guy? I heard that 60% of all violent crimes are not solved. So you allowed 60% of all the violent crimes just slip through the damn cracks while you were sitting there focused on, this one notorious fucking guy. This other notorious guy got his case dismissed. So it didn't matter how mad you were, how so mad you were. The level of anger didn't affect the outcome. The level of anger, unless you're putting pressure on the criminal justice system, then your level of anger doesn't matter at all. You're just some sort of bystander all to the side. Unless you're putting a bunch of pressure on the prosecutor and the judges and the clerks and the lawyers and all the people that's involved in the damn thing, your anger doesn't affect the outcome whatsoever goddamn ever. So I think that's the best case scenario for the Cincinnati prosecutor to offer a plea deal, get 30 years, put that baby to bed right away. Now he's, not being paraded all over the place. He's not looking like a jerk off, and there's not 50 cops staring at him like they want him to, do something or react to him or some shit. Yeah, he ran a cop over. A random cop that didn't seem to be doing anything that day, But then they also did show the video of Ryan Hinton, so now it's like, well, do we see the video of the cop getting ran over? I mean, the cop had a gun, right? Did the cop point the gun at him? I'm just going to ask all the same questions and make the same comments that people are saying about Ryan Hinton. Well, that cop was innocent. Innocent of what? Maybe you could say he was justified, but to say he's innocent, he killed him. It's not exactly innocent. It takes two to tango. It takes two to tango and two to tangle. And he wasn't adjudicated as being innocent by any jury trial. So what they're trying to say is that the guy was in the course of a felony, and so therefore they were chasing him. The stolen they pointed a gun at him. He had a gun. They pointed a gun at him. I'm sure the police officer probably didn't point a gun at him. But, you're going to have compare and contrast the whole time. Where is the police officer that had murdered Ryan Hinton? How come he's not on trial? What's good for the goose is good for the gander. You're going to let this guy just shoot the guy, and then you're going to sweep that shit under the rug. Was it justified? Put it in front of a jury. Get the stamp of approval of a jury. We should be used to juries by now. And so that's essentially my recommendations, is to get a plea deal for Rodney Hinton Jr., get him 30 years. That puts the baby to bed. You don't have to worry about any GiveSendGos. You don't have to worry about the capital punishment. You don't have to worry about the media. You don't have to, pull 50 cops out of their duties to put in on their uniform. When that brother was just knocking on the window, how the cops were getting all, excited, like, ooh, I can't wait. One guy throws his hat onto the ground. It's too fucking much. It's too much. You guys are being, way Nazi about this. Too fascist, authoritarian. And if you want to, you're supposed to work on de-escalating, right? You're not supposed to just keep on escalating and keep escalating until you go into crazy fucking town. That's actually Scalia. He says, if you never concede the point to any point, then you just sound like an unreasonable jerk-off. I'm paraphrasing. So I think that 30 years is a substantial amount of time that gets him out of the population, that gets him out of society. He's going to be behind bars for a really long time. and to push for the death penalty when there is clear emotional disturbance, you're going to fuck around and you're going to, possibly get a jury to exonerate him. They're going to say, hey, he just went through this thing that just happened. And then what happens if the video kind of shows that the police officer was being aggressive or something? The police officer had a gun. Was he pointed at him or not? I don't know. Let's look at the videotape. Did the cop, he had a gun, and cops are known to use a gun. 3,000 murders every year. I'm pretty much sure that it probably wasn't justified. But some people are saying, well, he had a gun, and so therefore, it was okay to shoot Ryan Hinton. So let's answer some of these questions. There's 3 questions here. One guy says, that 50,000 ain't a drop in the old trash can grasshopper. For that brother to get even a halfway decent fair trial, he'll need at least a couple of million to even think about him getting his freedom, grasshopper. Amen. Okay, grasshopper, amen. I don't know what all that's about, amen. And then it had all these emojis too, okay, trash can, grasshopper. But, yeah, 50,000 isn't much at all. So for people to get their panties in a bunch over $50,000, it's hardly anything. You're getting so worked up over $50,000. That racist woman got $1 million, $1 million fucking dollars. Did anybody know that? You could go to the park, call a little black kid the N-word, and then you won the fucking lottery. Did you know that? I didn't know that. That's, Matt Walsh is going to fucking defend you. You're going to have so many fucking, prominent people are going to come out and say, hey, man, finally. And then Matt Walsh is like, am I racist? Am I not racist? Who knows? Should I order my coffee black or not? Is that racist? Matt Walsh, you're a racist piece of shit. Fucking shit. Matt Walsh is such a racist piece of shit. Here's another comment says, so the car was not a stolen per se. The car was owned by someone else. Owner was either inside the SUV or the person was related to the owner and there was a repossession order. The son was just sitting in the car. That's, if that's true, then that means he wasn't a part of stealing a car. And then, okay, why are 4 guys sitting in a vehicle that was supposed to be repossessed? Even if you were to say that that's true, why is he running away? Why does he have a gun in his hand? That just looks suspicious as hell. So, I'll look into this here in a second. So maybe there's something to that. Still seems like it's suspicious as hell. Like he was in the course of committing a crime. But he was running away. I don't know what I would have done in that situation. Guys, if you pull your pistol, then that's lethal intent. Did he pull his pistol or did he just have it in his hand because he needs to run or some shit? I don't know. You should have had the damn thing holstered. That might have actually solved the whole thing. You got a gun and it's holstered. The police officer pulled it out, right? He had lethal intent. And in some respects, since they were all strapped, they should have been happy that they didn't just do a shootout at the OK Corral right then and there. Last comment is, we're all wondering and we're all trying to figure out, where did the son learn his behavior that got himself shot by the innocent police officer? Innocent police officer. You could try to say justified. There is a little bit difference between a police officer and a civilian or a citizen. If a citizen has to pull their arm, it's for self-defense. But police officers, we expect them to go out and make the arrest. So since they have to go out and make the arrest, then they got to take the risk. And then when it comes out to make an arrest and then a higher risk, of course, they got ultimate, absolute state authority. They got a monopoly of violence. So they could use whatever means that they have to do to go after a person. But if a person doesn't want to be taken in, then it could get real dangerous. So there is a high amount of risk and a bunch of things could happen. So they have to go make the arrest. So it's not totally clear cut, black and white when it comes to, if it's just person A and person B, then, all things are even. All things are even if it's just person A, person B. 2 citizens, 2 civilians, 2 regular folks. The cop sees a situation, if he sees a felony, if there's a felony in progress, then he gets to go make the arrest. If they're trying to arrest somebody, I just saw a shooting video where the guy was just doing some traffic violation. He drove too many times on a suspended license or something. So he got 10 times he got arrested for a suspended license, and the cop wasn't going to show any mercy. And he was like, no, it's a felony, so I have to take you in. And then the guy runs into the car saying he's going to go shoot himself, reaches for the gun, and the cop shoots him 3 times. He had a rescue dog. It was disgusting because it's like a regular fucking dude just driving, hurt nobody, got shot and fucking killed. I really like that one song where the lady was saying, I understand that anybody can get it. A man is a man, and don't you forget it. Those who wear the blue probably shoot you too. So let's take a look at it. Where did the son learn his behavior? At first I was kind of mad about the thing, but you know what? There might be something to it. I once read this article that it's not your parents that teach you who you are, but your peers. Your peers have more influence on who you become than your parents do. And maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. I did wonder if, he was part of a gang, his son was, and then, was the father a part of the same damn gang? But then I guess I started to think of the father as some sort of upright guy who just goes around installing garages or something. He's just a garage installer, Maybe his son got into some shit, but he's just trying to be a good family man. And so I really don't know the character of Rodney Hinton Jr. Where did the son learn his behavior that got himself shot by the innocent police officer? I don't like that you said innocent police officer. There's definitely probable cause that a crime could have occurred. Until you have a stamp of approval by a jury, I'm not going to listen to anybody, saying that the cop is guilty or innocent. So your fucking prosecutor friend just buried the thing. Your prosecutor friend just turned the fucking back on charging you with the damn crime, even though there's a dead person. You just heard about Colorado. They couldn't even put this guy who walks into a supermarket and killed 10 fucking people. They couldn't even put that guy to death. They couldn't even put him to death. So even a person, the court system is almost powerless sometimes to put somebody to death. And so it's almost like people want the cop to do this shit so that way it saves the court much time, and then the prosecutor buries the thing. You gave him the ultimate fucking, the end of all, even if he stole the car, that's 7 years in jail or some shit? Killing him, ultimately, that's not justice. If you're to look at a spreadsheet, all right, guy steals a car, what should be the punishment? 7 years sounds fair to me. So the fact then, that if he was arrested and then taken before a judge, that seems like a fair sentence. But instead, he got shot and killed, and now he's dead. And that's like the worst outcome. So let's see. I'll try to look up this car stealing. Let's see. Ryan Hinton. Did he steal a car? So this is just 6 days ago. Cincinnati police chief discusses fatal shooting. Suspects indicted in stolen car case that ended. Okay, maybe we'll take a look at some of this. WLW, WCPO, Cincinnati Enquirer. Did they release the name of the cop that shot Brian Hinton? Autopsy findings. CBD chief discusses. We'll check out Cincinnati Enquirer. If there's no paywall, we'll just take a look at this. I only got 30 seconds. So I'm going to have to, I'll just end this now and I'll take a look at some of this and see what I find later on. So, yeah, it's thou shalt not murder. You should be mad about the thing, but I think they should be smart and strategic about the thing, because the more that they press this thing, the more that they parade this guy, then you're just going to cause more outrage, more anger, give him unnecessary attention when you could just be over and done with the thing. Be smart.